What's up, guys? My name is Chaotic. Back at you guys living one a day. Hope you guys stay hot, stay lifted, and I'm coming at you guys with a crazy video. So this is the time where I took some fake tabs, all right? And these tabs definitely had Nbome, I'm pretty sure. So I don't really know. I had no way to test it at the time, which is really stupid. Do not ever do that for harm reduction's sake. But, you know, I was just using myself as a test because, like, I had a series of getting, like, tabs, right, in a row where I had no bad reaction, so I never expected one, but then it came. So yeah, this is the story of the Nbome, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that because I had some vasoconstrictive effects and weird effects that I did not have before when I took, when I tripped, in my first time of tripping, I actually had the realest tab I could ever have. It came from Canada and shit. Man, that shit was lit. Anyways, let's get into the scheduled program. Now, yeah, the Nbome trip, I was researching the hell out of this. And basically the Nbome trip is a little bit different than acid. Supposedly it's a little bit stronger, right? So I remember this day, like when I look back on this trip, it felt like a different drug now that I think about it. I'm serious because of the way it affected me. Like, it was just strange. Like, I was used to taking actually acid at the time. I was used to taking it, but I hadn't taken it in a while, and this felt more electrifying, like more stimulating. So now that's sounding like Nbome, because when I take acid, it's not stimulating. I mean, it is to a certain extent, but not to like where you're running around, not running around, but like walking outside as in running around. Like when you're doing that more, I feel like either it was a higher dose or I don't know, but it definitely was not acid feeling. I remember when I did acid, that shit made me want to lay down, and the ergot, right? I don't know, it's just more calming, right? Because it's semi-synthetic, basically, LSD. So yeah, it felt different for fucking sure, because I actually did 10 fucking tabs of acid, alright? And this time still felt different. I actually did 10 tabs. That video I made previously on my channel about 10 tabs of acid, I did that before this, so I had a lot of knowledge, a whole shit ton of knowledge on tripping beforehand, and this still felt different. Now, it actually did last a little shorter, I think. I don't remember. I don't know. I think it did. But basically, that's another hallmark of Nbome, and yeah. I don't know. I don't really know. It was really hard to obviously, distinguish it at the time when I was on it, but it felt more of like a dreamy trip. Now, that almost feels like a phenethylamine. Now, if you didn't know, Nbome is related to phenethylamine, I think. It's more of like a phenethylamine. So, yeah. Basically, that shit felt different than an acid high because acid's lysergic. It's like LSA, lysergic acid. So it's a little bit different, lysergamides, right? So it's part of the lysergamide family, so it's different, okay, than a tryptamine. Okay, phenethylamine is, yeah, different class, and because of that, it felt a lot more like that. So that was another, information I got actually from researching about Nbome. It actually was feeling like something different. I'm gonna be honest. It felt more like akin to 2CB. I'm serious. Yeah, so definitely not acid. And maybe what if it was 2CB? No, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't 2CB, because when I did 2CB, nah, it wasn't like 2CB at all. 2CB was definitely a different feeling than that. So yeah, Nbome is most closely related to LSD, right? But it's like halfway between that and 2CB, I would say, with the phenethylamine effects and the way it makes you trip. So yeah, and the potency of Nbome is, yeah, apparently really high. So yeah, this stuff felt weird, and I'm just getting into the craziest part of the story. So yeah, the Nbome trip, by the way, I actually had a good experience off the tab when I first got these tabs. And then I tripped, and then I had a bad experience. I had the vasoconstrictive effects kick in, and then I freaked out, okay, and got myself into a little bit of a, problem. Seriously, not just a little bit. It could have been major, but basically, yeah, I had to go to the hospital because I was freaked out so bad that the vasoconstriction, man, it was bad. So that also tells me that shit was not acid. That was not acid, because acid, I've done 10 tabs of acid twice, and I never, ever felt that on that dose. I'm serious. So that's the first fucking clue, that this shit had a bad reaction off of 1 tab, not 10. I didn't even take more than 1. So the fact that that happened, man, is definitely a problem. that is a red flag. Very, very bright red flag. So, yeah, I was in for, man, sort of a bad trip. It turned into a bad trip for sure. But so basically what I was getting at, I was looking at the package, and this dude put like 4 extra tabs up in that bitch. So I paid, check this, like I think I paid less than $10. And this dude, like for like a tab or I think 2 tabs, but he threw in fucking 5 or 6. Almost like he was trying to get rid of a bad batch of fake tabs or something, huh? That's what I figured. So maybe one of them was good, and then maybe the other ones were just a bad batch, or it was the Nbome the whole time, and I had a good experience off of one, and the other one was maybe a little bit more strong, or I don't know, man. I don't know what would contribute to that, and maybe it's like a 50-50 whether you're gonna have a good trip off Nbome or not. So basically, this shit was pretty scary, and yeah. That also made me think it was Nbome, because why did I have a good trip one time, the bad trip the next time? That never happens on acid unless you're like in a bad setting. Like when you have real deal acid, that shit will not happen to you. That shit will be a wonderful, calming, mind expanding trip like it's supposed to. But this stuff felt different. And yeah, the more I think about it, man, the more it feels different, because I did a lot more acid since then. And all the acid I did since then was never like that. It was never like that. So, yeah, safe to say, I actually flushed the rest of that shit down the motherfucking toilet. Yeah, I couldn't trust that shit no more. And, I wasn't wasting any money because that motherfucker just threw in them. So I couldn't even trust it. Like, why would he throw in some extra tabs, like if I was paying for 2, like if it was so cheap already? And that's the other red flag, by the way. Don't ever buy acid that cheap, okay? And this guy actually had good reviews. So, yeah, he was probably selling that Nbome, and people didn't have bad reactions, or they did, I don't even know. But basically, who knows? Dudes could probably, like, put half Nbome, half acid or some shit. Or, I don't know. You never know what they could be trying to get up their sleeve to, like, not put you, not give you, like, a real trip off of real acid. So, yeah, this trip turned south, the second time I took it off of this batch of acid I got. And it turned real south. So I remember, like, the come up was all just strange this time, right? And the vasoconstriction really got bad, like an hour or 2 in, like very fast. Like, this didn't happen last time. Like, this happened after that. So, yeah, it was weird. And, like, I remember the visuals. Yeah, they were more, like, different. They were a little bit more, like, electrifying. I don't know. It was just, like, anxiety-inducing and shit. Like, what if it was, like, shit? Like, I don't know. That wasn't no DOB fucking class of drug, but it was, like, it was fucking, it had to be Nbome. It had to be something really similar to it because of the inexpensiveness of this, how much I paid for the product, the inexpensiveness of it. I didn't really know, but, like, I was just being stupid around that time, so I didn't really know too much about harm reduction in the way I do now. But, like, I was just testing out this order. I was just like, I want to see, like, what's up with this, right? So, because people know you can sell $5 tabs, that you can get even cheaper off of the, the market. So, yeah, it was just another order from a good, reviewed vendor. But this time, like, it was just, he gave me some weird shit, and I'll never forget how it made me feel. So, yeah, the second time I took it, I was, quick to go to the hospital after that shit kicked in, because the vascular shit got so bad that, like I said, man, like I felt everything tight. So like first I just like looked down, I see my arms and everything, and then I swear I just start freaking out because like I think like I feel my blood pressure high or something. My everything just looks super like constricted, like amphetamine kind of shit. And like who knows if it was like impure acid, that maybe it was impure or something. I don't know, but it was not what it would really like feel like. Like I've never taken acid that felt like that. So yeah. Next thing you know, I'm freaking out. I gotta tell my fucking mom that I am, freaking out basically. And I think I just literally, I don't know. That's what the thing about this shit. It literally made me spill the beans about everything I was doing at that time. That shit was weird. Like I freaked out so bad, I didn't give a shit, and I just told my mom like, what I took, and then like that I was worried, and then all this other shit. And then of course the real panic attack kicked in. Like the real anxiety kicks in, because then you're starting to like really like psych yourself into thinking you're dying, right? So that's why I thought I was dying, because I knew this shit wasn't like acid. It freaked me the fuck out, okay? And that's the reason I started freaking out, because they did not feel like acid anymore. This shit was weird. It shouldn't have been giving me a bad trip that fast. That doesn't really happen. It wasn't even like an ego death thing. I wasn't fighting an ego death. I was fighting a bad reaction to it almost. And I'll never forget it. So, yeah, other times I took acid. Like I said, I've taken a 1 tab to a 2 tab to a 3 tab, all the way up to like a 9 or 10 tab level trip. So I've had a trip off of like, all those levels of tabs, right? And never have I ever felt something like that. It's just crazy to think about. Like I've had 2 10 tab trips and a 9 tab trip. Man, like, I don't know. I just never, ever felt that. I'm serious. I've done over 100 tabs of real acid and still never felt something like that. And if it's any, like, there's not vasoconstriction to that extent on acid. There is, obviously, most psychedelics, I think actually all of them have some level of that. But it is not to the level of that. So it was fucked. So, yeah, I'm on a trip to the hospital at this point because I am in a car right now, still freaking out. Yeah, and it was pointless because all we ended up with was a medical bill and them saying I was fine. And I remember them saying that I actually did MDMA. Or no, not that I did it, but they found psychedelic, like amphetamine in my blood or whatever, But they couldn't tell what I took. They had no tests for this shit. So, yeah, we never really ended up finding it out. But I just remember sitting in that chair, coming down, right? And by the time, it was just so stupid. Like, I actually stopped freaking out. And maybe it was like fucking come up, or it was a, obviously not. Honestly, like, it was never like that on acid. I never had a come down like that on acid. So I don't understand where that anxiety came from. All I know is that I was starting to do MDMA around that time, and I think that might have screwed up something in my brain. It probably caused a lot of unneeded anxiety and, stress on my brain, right? So my neurochemicals were all whacked out. I'm sure that had some effect, but at the same time, this is before I really abused MDMA, so I wasn't even abusing the MDMA yet. I just don't understand what it was. So I'll never really know. But it was just a fucked experience, okay? So, yeah, by the way, if you ever feel anything weird, don't ever take that batch again, okay? Like, don't do that shit. It's probably not worth it. Test it if you didn't already. But like I said, I couldn't test this stuff. And even if I did test it, I don't really remember. So, by now, this is fucking in 2017. This was back in early 2017. Or late 2017. Yeah, I remember I started my last year of high school. So this is 6 years ago. Yeah, 6 years ago. So I'm actually starting to already forget about that shit. But I remember enough about it, so I figured I'd make a video because this, it's a funny-ass kind of title, isn't it? I think I took Nbome, and I really did. I really think I did. Because, like I said, I've done over 100 tabs of acid, had all those level tab trips, all that stuff. And from all my education and experience combined, at almost 24 years old, I can say that that shit was a different drug. The way it felt the first time I took it, it just felt a lot more electrifying. Like, it had me moving, right? And like I said, when I take a tab of acid, I don't really just want to move. Like, I don't want to just walk outside immediately and shit. But that shit made me do that. And also, by the way, phenethylamines tend to make you less anxietal. That anxiety was on like to a lesser extent because of that, presumed phenethylamine high attached to the Nbome. I'm serious, because I remember when I first took it and I had a good trip off of it. Yeah, it made me really social and I was feeling good. And I was walking around doing everything, and everything just looked amazing and different. And it was like awe, and like just made me feel some awe. It was just really awesome. And that's because it probably was a different high. It wasn't even like acid. So that's why it felt so different to my brain. It felt such like a different experience, more trippy, more like psychedelic, stronger, electrifying, kind of stimulating feeling. And then it died out a little bit quicker, to be honest. It didn't even last as long as acid. I'm serious, because I have real acid. That shit lasts up to fucking 18 hours. This shit definitely died before 18 hours and before 16. I know there's some after effects at 16, but it pretty much died at 12 hours in. So yeah, Nbome has a slightly, shorter duration than LSD. So that's also why I think, everything tying all these details and facts together, it definitely sounds like it was Nbome. So leave it down in the comments if you think it was, because if you guys have ever taken it, I'd like to hear an experience of yours. Have you ever actually purposely taken it? Because I haven't, and I'll never really want to purposely take it. I know you can do it and not die, but let's be honest, who the fuck wants to take that when there's acid out there, $5 or less of a tab? And yes, you can find someone. So I don't know, but basically, just play it safe. Get the real stuff, man. Test it, man. Test kits down in the description. And yeah, so it was a pretty interesting night. I was laying in that chair tripping at the hospital there while they were taking my blood or something. I don't even know. I peed in a cup and shit. And yeah, I was just going back home at this point, right? I was already fine. I was like, dude, see? I just freaked out for fucking nothing. But I know for a fact I had vasoconstrictive effects. And also, my pupils were way more dilated than acid could do. I'm serious. So it was really strange. Really strange. Really, really, really really strange. That's also why I think it was a phenethylamine. If it was like a phenethylamine high with acid combined, that's basically what Nbome is. So that would probably have your eyes fucking way more dilated and shit. And because I was having a bad reaction, there was something blood pressure wise changed, That's why I had all that vasoconstriction. But, ended up, within an hour going to hospital, it ended up actually clearing up. So I came back home. I was still freaked out, though. I was still not on a good vibe. And, it was not a good rest of my trip. It was not. I had to go to fucking the urgent care or whatever. It was fucking bad, man. And then they charged, that expensive-ass medical bill just to confirm I'm fine. And I'm like, this is why I am never going ever. If I die taking anything, I'm not going to the hospital. It's not fucking worth it. Unless I took a deadly combination, obviously. But like, if I'm not intentionally trying to die, man, I don't know. It's better to play it safe. But obviously, it was a pretty bad reaction to have me want to go to the fucking hospital. Let's be honest. That shit was crazy. So yeah, did I take Nbome or did I not? Let me down in the comments, But yeah, like I said, I think I took Nbome. Like, real shit, man. And it's funny to think about it, but it's actually kind of scary if you think about it, too. This needs, like, an investigation, but there will never be one. So, yeah, it's all left up to, like, assumptions and shit. And also, here's another detail. The guy actually got banned or something. Something happened to him. So, I do think someone disputed, and I think someone said that he was selling fake stuff, maybe that's what happened. So, yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay high, stay lifted, and peace out to the next one.